What if one of America's biggest political shifts ended up making Europe stronger than ever? For years, many analysts believed Europe had become too dependent on the United States for security, trade, technology, and even energy. But when Donald Trump's America First approach challenged decades of traditional alliances, something unexpected happened. Instead of collapsing under pressure, Europe began adapting. European nations increased defense spending, invested in energy independence, accelerated military cooperation, and expanded economic partnerships around the world. Was this an unintended consequence? Or did Europe simply use the pressure as motivation to reinvent itself? Today, we'll explore how Trump's policies may have unintentionally accelerated Europe's transformation into a more independent global power. Let's begin. Europe's dependence before Trump. For decades after World War II, Europe enjoyed an extraordinary level of security and prosperity. The United States guaranteed much of Europe's defense through NATO. American military bases were spread across the continent. Many European governments focused more on healthcare, education, and social welfare while spending relatively little on defense. At the same time, Europe developed deep economic ties with both the United States and Russia. Russian natural gas-powered industries across Germany, Italy, and several Eastern European countries. Global trade remained relatively stable, and the transatlantic alliance appeared stronger than ever. But beneath the surface, vulnerabilities were growing. Many experts warned that Europe relied too heavily on outside partners. Those concerns became much more visible after Donald Trump entered the White House. The America First doctrine. President Trump introduced a foreign policy centered around one principle: America First. His administration questioned long-standing international agreements, challenged traditional alliances, and demanded that America's allies contribute more to their own security. Trump repeatedly argued that many NATO members were not paying their fair share for defense. He criticized European governments for depending too much on American taxpayers. His message was simple: Europe needed to become more responsible for its own security. At the time, many European leaders viewed these statements as threats to the alliance. But those criticisms also sparked an important debate across Europe. Could the continent continue relying so heavily on Washington? Or was it finally time to stand on its own? The answer would begin reshaping Europe. Defense spending began rising. One of the clearest changes involved military spending. For years, NATO encouraged members to invest at least 2% of GDP on defense. Many countries consistently failed to reach that goal. Trump made defense spending a major political issue. Governments across Europe gradually increased military budgets. Countries invested in new fighter jets, missile defense systems, cybersecurity, and modern military equipment. Several nations also expanded their armed forces. Although many factors contributed, including growing security concerns, Trump's constant pressure kept the issue at the center of international politics. By the early 2020s, Europe was spending far more on defense than it had just a few years earlier. The continent was becoming militarily stronger. And that trend continues today. Europe started seeking greater strategic independence. Another major shift involved strategic autonomy. European leaders increasingly discussed reducing dependence on the United States. The European Union expanded cooperation in defense research, technology development, and security planning. Countries began coordinating military projects more closely. Defense industries received greater investment. Joint weapons development programs accelerated. Instead of assuming America would always take the lead, Europe began preparing for scenarios where it might need to act independently. That represented one of the biggest geopolitical changes in decades. Europe wasn't abandoning America, but it was becoming more capable of acting on its own. This transformation continues to shape European policy today. A new approach to security is no longer viewed only through the lens of traditional military power. European countries are investing heavily in cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, satellite technology, and intelligence sharing. Governments are also strengthening protection against cyber attacks, misinformation campaigns, and threats targeting critical infrastructure such as power grids and communication networks. These investments reflect a broader understanding of national security in the 21st century. Military strength remains important, but technological resilience has become equally critical. Economic resilience has become a priority. Another lesson Europe has learned is the importance of economic resilience. Recent global disruptions, from supply chain shortages to energy crises, highlighted the risks of depending too heavily on any single supplier or market. As a result, European countries have encouraged domestic manufacturing, invested in clean energy industries, and supported innovation in sectors such as semiconductors, batteries, and advanced technology. The goal is to create an economy that can better withstand future shocks while remaining competitive in a rapidly changing world. The future of NATO. Despite occasional political disagreements, NATO remains one of the world's most significant security alliances. Many European members have increased defense spending and modernized their armed forces, making the alliance stronger overall. Future American administrations may differ in tone and policy, but the expectation that European allies should contribute more to their own defense is likely to remain. This means the alliance could become more balanced, with Europe taking on greater responsibility while continuing close cooperation with the United States. Different opinions among experts. It's important to recognize that not everyone agrees on how much credit, or blame, should be assigned to Trump's policies. Some analysts argue that Europe's transformation had already begun before his presidency and would have continued regardless. Others believe that global events, including Russia's invasion of Ukraine and broader geopolitical shifts, were the primary drivers of change. Still others suggest that Trump's criticism simply accelerated trends that were already underway. As with many issues in international politics, there is no single explanation. History is often shaped by multiple events happening at the same time. What this means for the rest of the world. Europe's growing independence has implications far beyond the continent itself. A stronger and more resilient Europe could play a larger role in global trade, climate policy, humanitarian assistance, and international diplomacy. At the same time, stronger European capabilities may also contribute to a more balanced international system, where responsibility for global security is shared among multiple partners. How these relationships evolve will depend on future political decisions in both Europe and the United States. Final thoughts. The story of Europe's recent transformation illustrates an important lesson in international politics. Policies designed to achieve one objective can sometimes produce unexpected outcomes elsewhere. Donald Trump's "America First" approach challenged European governments in ways that prompted many of them to reassess long-standing assumptions about defense, energy, and strategic autonomy. Whether those changes were inevitable or accelerated by political pressure remains a subject of debate. What is clear is that Europe today is investing more in its own security, diversifying its economy, and seeking a larger role in global affairs than it did just a decade ago. As the international landscape continues to evolve, the relationship between the United States and Europe will remain one of the world's most important partnerships, shaped by cooperation, occasional disagreement, and shared interests. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this analysis, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our latest insights into global politics, immigration, and international affairs. We'll see you in the next video.